Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the North American LCS. The teams are readying up on stage for round 2 between Team Dignitas and Counter Logic Gaming. Speaking of Team Dignitas, though, got to talk to Altec for being the player of the game, as we decided here on that one. Won something like 9-1-7, 7-1-5 was the score. I was close. Either way, I did really, really well.
And also had a lot of control in laning phase. So the Kalista Thresh, yes, it is an advantage matchup, but you still have to capitalize on it and then not get ganked while pushing up. Then a lot of the late game picks were him finding the right position with which to Fate's call Adrian into the team. So great job by Altec in that game.
Totally agree. And speaking of standout players on these squads, got to talk about OmarGod starting for Counter Logic Gaming. They're looking to continue switching back and forth between their junglers now. Drodek, of course, played Game 1 in both these series. So OmarGod's back in for Game 2 as well, just like yesterday. He's going to hope that he can turn the fates around and get themselves a win here.
Yeah, I mean, OmarGod from Scouting Grounds fame, pretty much. He came up, Zix drafted him with first pick in Scouting Grounds. He eventually was on CLG Academy. Now he's finally made his way back up into the LCS. So they've had their eyes on this guy for a while. As you mentioned, he got to play last night, was victorious on Olaf. And they have said that when necessary, they want this to be a 6-man roster. The jungler position, I think, is more suitable sometimes to be swapped out, since you have so many mind games that go on and you never really know what the other jungler is doing. If the other guy doesn't get to watch the pathing in the first game, technically you should have an edge coming into Game 2. So this is what CLG has done both series this week, whether it's a win or a loss. They're bringing in OmarGod in Game 2.
Yeah, and I think it definitely can work really well. You mentioned in the champ select in the previous game where you think there's a lot of champions viable that aren't getting played a lot yet, Sejuani and Maokai being big ones, and I agree on that. And it's like, imagine you have a world where like one guy just like keeps turning all the warrior junglers, the other guy just keeps playing all the tank junglers, and if you figure out, oh, tank junglers are better right now, it's like, well, great, we have someone who's not wasting any practice time. Like, he's just ready to go on the Sejuani and the Maokai and things like that. I think there's a lot of ways to use that. I still agree with your point about watching the team without Fog of War in the team room and saying, okay, I'm seeing all the pathings here, I'm seeing all the positionings. Either way, it's going to be CLG bringing OmarGod off the bench, hoping that he can remain undefeated.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the days where teams can sub out after champion select. That would just totally reshape the game. I don't know how you'd pull it off technically, but...
Yeah, I saw Zale tweeting about that earlier. I actually would not like that. I've played against teams when you could sub after champ select. And old TSM would bring in Dyrus, we'd ban Jax, and Dyrus would leave champs, like someone else would show up and be like, well, thanks for getting Jax. And it felt terrible. It's
a highly debated topic, and I know the teams do not like it. I just think it'll be cool. Anyway, we're so far away from that.
Yes, we are.
OmarGod is in, and he can play any of the champions, and no matter which champion they pick him, he's in for this game.
He is going to be in for the game. Aurelion, Sol, and Galio off the table so far. Team Dignitas removing Huhi's winged options this game. Caitlyn, red side ban, Zach, red side ban continuing. LeBlanc off the table for Team Dignitas as well, so pretty standard fare that these teams considered. We'll see what CLG does for the last one. Last time around, they banned Cassiopeia with the last ban. They also had an Elise ban that they had done before, and that's going to be the one to keep, so Cassiopeia available if Keane wants it. Dignitas would rather play Kalista once again.
Well, they do not get to know that Altec picked player of the game, but they sensed it, that his Kalista was really good and really important to have, and they also don't want Stixxay to be able to have it. Stixxay had a 10-0-11 Kalista game just last night against Echofox, so I think that's a very worthy first pick.
Definitely strong things here. We'll see what comes in next. Looks like both these teams were considering Renekton line picks there. Gragas is going to be the first grab for CLG, much like the last game. They've got one more choice for themselves. Going to figure out over time what OmarGod's champ pool is. Of course, he did play in the Challenger Series on CLG Academy and played a bunch of Olaf and Gragas himself. Those are his two most played, so certainly he's going to feel comfortable on this Gragas, and instead they're going to go for Tristana, which generally I feel like is considered a strong pick into Kalista in the general sense, and I think a very strong champion with Caitlyn banned in general right now.
Yep, it's the next best turret killer. Kills turrets faster. It's just a matter of getting there. And as you mentioned, just stacking up the bomb against Kalista can be very effective. So the thing that was banned last game actually locked in early. Shrimp going with Nunu.
I like it. So Nunu in there, certainly very, very, very strong at 7-13. Better with Cinderhulk, does a lot of damage. Renekton going to be continually the blind pick here for Team Dignitas. We'll see if CLG goes for the same Gnar as they did before. But yeah, I mean, Dignitas saw, hey, CLG's willing to ban Gnar. Okay, we need to grab it earlier this time.
Yeah, and that's... I'm also interested that they actually early picked the Renekton with Gnar still on the tables, because I think CLG can just pick that right now, and I think that's an advantage matchup for the Gnar.
Right, when you could like pick the Thresh that went so well last game, for example.
Kind of, yeah. So I'm actually fairly perplexed by that stage of the Team Dignitas draft phase, unless Ssumday just said, I'll be fine, they camped me, that's why I lost. Could be the argument for him. But yeah, the Nunu is so much about early game invading. If you're up against something like Lee Sin, the worry here for the Nunu is that COD hadn't locked in their jungler, but now they essentially have against the Gragas, and I think that's a pretty good matchup into Gragas. Gragas isn't the fastest clearing jungler, has a hard time actually killing Nunu, generally allows Nunu to go where he wants.
Yep. And here we are in a game with matched roles here. Supports and mid laners left up on both sides. CLG getting first dibs. And you'd have to imagine Thresh is very likely to be high priority. I think it's valuable. They had picked it in the first phase of yesterday's match. They grabbed a pretty early Thresh, I do believe, for aphromoo earlier on. The Vel'Koz ban continues. The Team Dignitas keep their target bans going. And CLG throwing bans at Adrian to see what he might play if Thresh is gone. Still where my money lies, but still waiting to be seen. Syndra, of course, is also up and valuable.
Yeah, now we wonder if the Thresh is actually going to be banned by Team Dignitas, since aphromoo would potentially take it right away. The other option will be taking Syndra right away, with some of the other matchups being banned out. And with the Vladimir ban, they're trying to force CLG into Syndra, because Vladimir is Huhi's pick against it.
Interesting things to decide, and they said, yep, we don't want to give you the chance to play Syndra yourselves, we'll leave you the supports up. And it's an interesting, very interesting mind game. If they could probably go back in the Straka ban, they would, but there's no way to do that, of course. This is how the pick orders work and whatnot, and a nice little gambit there by Dignitas.
Yeah, and I think it paid off as long as Keane has a pick now. He needs to have a pick into Syndra, and currently I don't actually feel like there are many. A lot of people say it would be Fizz or Echo, but we haven't seen that lately, because a lot of teams either aren't comfortable enough playing the 1-3-1, or the Syndras have just gotten better at that matchup. And then you have other stuff like Corki, which farms out, and Orianna typically is seen as not that great in a Syndra. Syndra seems better than it, so essentially they just want Keane's Orianna for the team fight more so than for the lane.
Looking at various champions here, Thresh and Tahm Kench make the most sense. Thresh is the grab. Tahm Kench himself is very good into Syndra to devour someone out of the Unleashed Power ultimate, but Thresh, pound for pound, considered the best pick in the support role and is going to be grabbed up here, so same bot lane for Team Dignitas.
Yeah, same top lane as well. Just switching around the mid lane and jungle, and the ban that was through last time, which potentially enabled his Thresh a little bit more, Morgana, is on the board for CLG.
There's the lock.
And the timer has hit 0, so that means it's Morgana.
All right, Morgana, Trist in the bot lane certainly can be very powerful. I like this duo for a lot of reasons. I think one for one, both the bot lane carries and supports match up well in CLG's favor. I think the 2-on-2 also looks good because you have a hyper carry with a black shield on it, which means it's very hard to stop with a snowball. Oftentimes Shockwave won't catch it and things like this. So I think there's a lot of power in this CLG bot lane now. And if I'm CLG and I'm Tony telling them what to do in champs, like, it's like, guys, if you focus on bot lane, if you win there, Stixxay can 1v9 and win the game for you. And, you know, we'll see if that ends up being the focus. Team Dignitas, of course, had won through everything but top lane. The previous, we'll see if CLG can stop that.
Yeah, and also one extra thing is a lot of times Nunu can just be oppressive to marksman in the late game, but if you black shield the guy, then the negative status effects of the Ice Blast or the ultimate aren't going to go through.
Yeah, you're literally immune to the channeling effect on Absolute Zero. It has to actually break the shield first, so surely some power is available here. Coaches shake hands. Two people who have known each other for a very long time. Zix and Cop have been in the scene for quite a while on CLG and Team Dignitas respectively. Once again, lineups on your screen, and it's going to be time to get into the game. CLG hoping to get back after that game one loss that Team Dignitas honestly just won almost all their lanes in and just kind of snowballed over. CLG going to hope for some top lane pressure or something else this time.
Yeah, and it's so apparent how hard Team Dignitas went at Huhi. You could say every single one of those bans can be a mid lane ban. The Galio is something that CLG has been playing top lane as well, but that is a heavy hit to Huhi's champion pool. So I really want to see if he can succeed on this Syndra, since that was almost all of Team Dignitas' ban strategy was trying to keep Huhi down.
Let's see if they can do that here. Huhi on the Syndra. It's almost ironic when you say, yeah, we try to keep him down in bans, so he played Syndra this game. I know it was the same thought with the Corki. It's like, wow, we gave him 5 bans and he played Corki. That's atypical, but this is the world you live in. It's truly counter logic. This is how Huhi works with this one. So I think some smart choices here. I want to point out Ancient Coin is definitely like the best support item right now. So aphromoo, even though you traditionally consider Morgana a big Spell Thief's user. Ancient Coin is just so much more gold income. It's a lot of power, and I think it's the right choice.
Yeah, I think so too. So just the absolute amount of money you get. Is this the patch where the passive is changed for it as well?
That's
it no longer
14.
has a skill point. So still, I think, a really fun payoff with the skill point as well, since Morgana has arguments for maxing any of the abilities. Very important to get your skill points up on Morg.
Yeah. Yeah, you have 2 skills where you really care about the skill points in. I think you will always max Dark Binding for the essentially infinite root duration, as the internet likes to say. But Black Shield is a very valuable level incentive as well, especially if you can get a break point where it won't break off of like a Thresh hook, so that he can't just instant flay. He has to auto attack you first, so that it won't break off an Ice Blast, or it won't break off a command attack, so that Shockwave will catch you. And there's very tight breakpoints that actually matter a lot for Black Shield, so I agree. The skill point, very valuable. We are in the landing phase. Huhi this time not doing any hard leashes. It's going to be OmarGod on the bot side and Shrimp's Nunu on the top side. So both these teams going for blue buff. Adrian going to hope for a steal, unlikely to get one. Zoned out by the threat of a bind, and blue buffs for both these junglers.
Yeah, Altec already shoving that bottom lane though. So again, Altec and Adrian going to get that early level 2. We'll have to track where that sets up the junglers versus the bottom lane here. Remember, the 20 to 30 CS lead that Altec and Adrian accrued last game is something they're going to be looking to emulate.
See if they can do it. I think the CLG duo lane looks a little bit stronger in landing phase. It's close, and a couple minutes away. Looks like it's these couple more minutes to go until that actually comes through. OmarGod right now on his Raptors. No huge issues for him. It looks like the Nunu already cleared out 3 full camps, so OmarGod slightly behind in pace. With it level 3 eventually, though. And that was, of course, as you can see the start on the bottom, that was him on Olaf. But he had done very well. They had their best game of the FlyQuest series was with OmarGod starting.
Yeah, I mean, that was where several members of the team were deathless, so can say he is yet to die in the North American LCS.
Yeah. Watch out, rookie to split Mike Young. OmarGod's coming for you.
You have to have quite the performance at this point.
I agree. There's not a lot of Europeans to beat in the NALCS. He's got to beat TSM to make that one happen. We've got to see aphromoo taking a bit of damage there. A lot of javelins on him as well. And you can see Stixxay only able to really get 2 auto attacks off at a time right now, but we'll get a small chunk off on Altec.
Ssumday burned his flash up top lane as OmarGod went to body slam into him, so at least Ssumday avoided the gank. But also is having Shrimp trying to solo the Infernal Drake while Ssumday is buying time up here. You can do this on Nunu with rank 2 consume. A lot of times you'll have to smite it like almost twice to stay alive, unless you get a helper like Adrian to come over, in which case it's an easy secure.
This shouldn't be a problem at all. So, quick pickup there and a sub 4-minute Infernal Drake. Feels good, man. Team Dignitas, objective control.
Yeah. So, if we're doing cheap math here, that was Renekton's flash for an Infernal Drake, which is generally a trade you're going to say worth 2. Now he's going to chomp down a Gromp, so OmarGod, I feel like getting a little outpathed here by Shrimp, even though Shrimp wasn't a complex path. He just full cleared and then ran to Infernal Drake, but it's confidence in Nunu to go for that. Now the question is, can he convert the kill? He's got to go right away. Does not. Spotted up by Ward.
And what was the chance? It's 6 Elemental Drakes for Team Dignitas as a result. It's pretty tight timing, but it's a possibility. 5 maybe more likely in this game, either way. OmarGod looking for opponents to find, and that jungle is basically clear. There's nothing to counter jungle, so kind of sitting around waiting on his heals for the camps to respawn. And of course, neither of these squads did Raptors early, so those aren't going to be back up for a little while. Wolves just up now. The Gromp the same, but Nunu's going to grab that Gromp pretty quickly. There's a trade for OmarGod getting Wolves, and they're just going to go back to their jungle paths right now. Quick Bomby Cinder. Shrimp can clear jungles pretty quick now.
Yeah, so talking a little bit more about Shrimp's path there, the Infernal Drake gives arguably little to no benefit at 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It is a late game investment that you're making. So what Shrimp did is fairly high risk, even though it wouldn't seem that way, because he is in no part of that in that path did he attempt to gain vision of the enemy jungler or assist his lanes. So in those 4 minutes, the rest of Team Dignitas need to play neutral.
Insane hook, and Huhi is gone. What a hook out of Adrian. He deserves that first blood. That kill column goes right where it should. Max
Range also then gets the ignite after he pulls him back in. That's huge. as Syndra was about to hit level 6 and try and gain lane advantage, just playing in the fog, Huhi cheats a little bit more towards the bot side than he should since he had his jungler up in the top side. Gets immediately punished.
Yeah, I think he thought he could outrange it. It was so close to just outranging the hook. Like, even though he saw him, it's debatable because you could say, you know, you think you're away from the skill shot. Obviously, he did choose wrong there. He clearly was still in range, but I understand the choice.
Oh, man. That's quite big for Team Dignitas because that is one of the lanes that CLG will want to win. If Nunu has winning lanes, Nunu can get a little bit more ridiculous. Also, on this patch, we mentioned the resurgence of Cinderhawk junglers. Part of that is the cheap access to Bami Cinder and how fast you can get that. It's 900 gold, clears the jungle really fast, and the AoE camps that Nunu may struggle with, even when he was still good, he no longer struggles with when he gets early access to that item.
Yep. Some will say it's big for Team Dignitas, but it was Adrian who made the hook land. Yeah, I know. It was lame, but I had to get it in there. It called to me.
Yeah, you get one.
Ah, thanks, man. 300 gold lead for Team Dignitas, actually. Worth pointing out, the overall farm this time around, it's inverted, though. It's Dignitas who have 600 gold worth of First Blood, and yet CLG are farming better overall as a squad. They've made up half that with their laning phases here, so if we have an inverted game and CLG ends up winning through bot lane themselves, as they're looking still down a bit in this bot lane, but see if they can find something for themselves. Good patience. They were able to dodge the hook, so Black Shield remains available.
Yeah. The main perplexing thing in this game still remains that Ssumday picked Renekton blind in Gnar, even though it was a losing matchup in game 1, and has no reason to be different in this game. I think the Gnar just would have been better, but curious to see why Ssumday has done the Renekton, because if that matchup is inverted, then Team Dignitas is in absolute full control.
Yeah, I would agree with that one, but the way it is right now, gold lead shrinking continually as you've got an 18 almost minion lead right now for Darshan on the top side. Actually, really, without any gank assistance at all. Sorry, to be fair, no, he did. He got a flash force. He got something pushed out of the lane, so I'll take that one back. But still, doing a very good job of the matchup. Finds himself a stun, and Ssumday does only minor damage in the matchup.
Yeah, the timing from Shrimp's Nunu, though.
Ooh, gonna find damage on the Keane, flashing away. He's still gonna go down. Huhi gets the damage with the R button. Flash to chase lands it. Keane had shockwaved earlier on. What a pickup.
Yeah, that is a big swing for CLG. Also, Shrimp's Nunu has pretty much just been doing Nunu things, but not helping lanes whatsoever. So that's sometimes the danger of doing that hard farming. He steals red, but then now that his mid laner has fallen,
CLG does too.
Watch the solo kill one more time. Both mid laners picking up blue. Shockwave goes early for harass. The turret shot is huge, and Huhi just says, okay, you're low.
If I land
Flash
W, you're
QR.
dead. Yep.
He doesn't even need to land the stun to get that kill.
Yeah. Threw it at him, and he did well. Now the flash snowball for Shrimp. Slaps him in the face. Here's a stun for Ssumday, and the kill comes through. Blue buff on a Renekton.
Oh, man. That's convenient. As Huhi shoved out the wave, but had no control of the top side jungle where Shrimp had just been, so didn't actually have a side of the lane which was warded out.
Afro, does he have Black Shield? He does. Box Flay, and that hook dodge was important because Box plus Flay broke the Black Shield, but you can see what the strength is. He has to, Kalista does nothing. That's a great counter pick. And then an ultimate and an active ability finally breaks Black Shield, and is okay, dodge the one skill shot left.
Yeah, Black Shield does so much against this team composition. It's that combo as well as Nunu when they're in there. But here comes Mega.
Actually misses the hop on for damage. Doesn't actually manage to trigger Hyper, but either way, forces something to flash. Does not want to get chased down. So Darshan still getting his leads. Well done.
Yeah, Ssumday did pick up the kill, so it means the gold, I guess, to stay close. Just based off the CS, the kill doesn't even equalize the gold between the two.
Still 100 apart. OmarGod finding an opponent here. Stixxay gonna get a Black Shield. Auto attack, and not quite enough damage from Kalista W to actually break the Black Shield off of a Thresh auto attack. Now the ulti in for Afro just forces the Lantern out, though. And that is a trade that the Dignitas are happy to trade with. Lantern for ulti feels good.
Yeah, Adrian and Altec playing that lane quite aggressively. Hello. Trying to block the body slam.
Very large people there. A nice play is going to land. The hook is in as well. Explosive cast not going to mean enough. OmarGod, not long for the world, but Altec getting his first kill of the game.
And Infernal Drake #2 is alive. 10 minutes and 30 seconds. They're going to be able to get that second one.
They'll just keep stacking. If Team Dignitas can keep control of this game, Elder Dragon's going to be insane. Altec leaves early with a Ren to go get back into the bot lane. Hasn't recalled in a while. There's actually a lot more items on Stixxay. He's going to outrange the hook. Adrian hoped he would juke backwards. Of course, he didn't. He was going to outrange it regardless, so smart to walk in a straight line. Now Shrimp going to make sure that they can push out the bot lane and give a bad recall to Stixxay if they can help it.
Yeah, so things going to plan for Team Dignitas. I like what Shrimp has done in the early game, but I need to continue to point out how it's the laners playing around that, because Shrimp is very rarely going to lanes or having an influence over them. So most of these guys are on their own, and that's what's allowed the Nunu to pick up the Infernal Drake. Now, he actually has rushed a Kindle Gem before Boots, which I really don't like, because I feel like the mobility on Nunu is very, very important. He's going to be okay with Blood Boil in his mind, but pretty odd.
Just getting a lot of health, so he's going to be very tanky. 2,000 health at 11.5 minutes. He's going to grab a pretty quick Rift Herald as well. I mean, a lot of priority on these neutral objectives. Darshan's going to spot it out.
Hello, friends. But there's more Team Dignitas people here. They're okay actually forcing a fight around this.
A bunch of big burly dudes. Adrian's suddenly here as well. Hook on OmarGod. He is certainly going to lose his life, but first it's going to be red team. It's actually a pickup on the Rift Herald. Nice pickup right there. They get something at least for it. Now, can they get on the marker?
He wants it so bad.
Black Shield stops the shockwave, cancels out entirely. Going to be an easy pickup now for this one. They're going to push down Shrimp. They're going to find themselves a root, a bit of damage there. They got to watch out though, because here comes Renekton. Ulti on, but Exhaust blocks out a lot of the damage. That's going to be a quick pickup there. Darshan actually able to grab the mark at least, but 2 for 0 in kills. Team Dignitas grabbing a couple.
And first turret's going to go to Altec because he didn't even rotate down. So yes, the Rift Herald goes over, but that is a small price to pay for Team Dignitas as they continue to go and make plays. Adrian out of mana, but he has a friend.
Dignitas on an aphromoo. There's a flash. He's going to get away a little bit. A couple more shots will do him in. And he is going to get away, so at least an escape for aphromoo means something. But still, it is CLG hemorrhaging almost everything across this map.
Yeah, a bait at Rift Herald by Team Dignitas. Rift Herald in itself does not do very much damage, so trying to contest teams doing it, you have to be ready to fight, and Adrian had roamed. So as the Gragas jumps in, Team Dignitas just activates the fight right away. OmarGod loses all of his health right off the bat, and then CLG is able to essentially match the roam. Black Shield blocking Shockwave was pretty big, but the fight is still going right over to Team Dignitas. Shrimp is too tanky. Remember, no boots, Kindle Gem. And here's Darshan, though.
Ooh, he's going to have the damage. 2 more idols to do it. Oh, he's got to watch out for the turret. He can't get it. He hopped too far. He bounced off his head, and he's just gone. Unlucky. I thought Darshan had it, but he goes down instead. Altec getting a second kill, and Ssumday getting away with it.
And that is a bit of an act of desperation from Darshan. Everyone else is losing. This is what happened last game. I need to carry as the Gnar and get ahead. So he goes for a 1v1 turret dive with absolutely no vision. Yes, he probably could have landed the boomerang and secured it, but even then, it's going to trade a 1-for-1.
Well, CLG making the best they can, but Ssumday actually willing to go on the 1v2, finds himself a quick stun to Stixxay, good damage there. Supposed to going to mean some, but look how aggressive he's happy to play. Going to pop the ult, but here comes TP from Moore as it's going to be Darshan showing up for the 3v1. Top lane outer already gone. Watch out, Stixxay, summoner heal, and he barely lives. That was a close one. Does survive at all. It's going to be a trade of bot lane turret then.
Yeah, how far does this play go? Because he burned a lot of summoner spells and burned a lot of time while there were 3 people pushing for Team Dignitas on the top side. So willing to try to sacrifice himself.
Might just find Keane. It's close, but he's going to get away with it. Nice shockwave gets rid of the minions. And Huhi going to pull aggro. He's down at about 100 HP. Going to cut away. Top lane 2-2 going to fall, so Team Dignitas able to get 2 turrets there. It's the 1 kill for 0.
Herald,
and yeah, the Herald's going to mean it's 2 turrets for 2 overall, which is exactly what we expected on the play. And with the recalls coming in, that shouldn't be much more. So it ends up being a slightly positive CLG play by going up a kill, if you don't count the Darshan death from earlier.
Yeah, I agree there. Ssumday could have just backed away, saved his life, and then prevented the second turret. So extra gold coming through. Huhi has both summoners.
Gonna pop Ghost. There's a snowball, which means no way out. Gonna land a nice stun, though. Satchel is there. Doesn't even need it. Well played, actually. Huhi getting a big stun, and only losing Ghost for Shrimp's flash.
Yeah, really hard to run out of Syndra. So Shrimp got the slow, but could not get anything beyond that. Looks like he's going Knight's Vow second item, which would be very good for popping onto Altec. Also, Shrimp, it looked like the snowball didn't do much because it's a 1-point wonder for him right now in this game. He's going to be maxing Blood Boil second from the looks of it.
Yeah.
So full on trying to buff up Altec, who is accruing a lot of the farm. Also got solo first turret gold and 2 of the kills. Going to be a very strong mid-game Kalista. Absolutely.
What's nice is there actually are several reasonably good Blood Boil targets. Ssumday's not too bad at it either. He is going for that same build as before, which is Black Cleaver into full tank, which I think is, again, he doesn't have any lane priority, so he just wants to be a frontliner for the squad. Even though they have Nunu and Thresh, so I guess it's debatable, but either way, he's still going to be a reasonable damage threat. There's the flash flood. They're going to find aphromoo. Black Shield popped now, puts the ulti in. Here comes the lantern. They found Altec as well. OmarGod going to buy a bit of time. Explosive cast, plus the 2 stuns. Looking to kill off Altec now. The body slam flash going to be there. Do they have the damage to kill off Altec, though? He's down to 500 HP. The explosive, and they're going to get 1 kill picked up, but it's going to be a trade 2 for 1 in favor of Team Dignitas. And now the chase onto OmarGod's Gragas. Okay, to get away from Adrian and Shrimp. Nice play, gets him out of the body slam. Actually perfect there. Shotgun's going to miss. OmarGod finding a lot of time. Mid lane getting pushed in, but he will die. And we instead look to the mid and bottom lanes as CLG going to push in for mid lane tier 1, and Darshan going to wave down there.
Yeah, a big play by Team Dignitas. A totally unnecessary shockwave attempt by Keane there. Didn't even need to expend the cooldowns to secure that kill. But still a good bait fight once again. It's a 3 versus 2. So the fact that they actually get the kill onto Altec, props to them. OmarGod arrives late. aphromoo gets a lot of damage on him. Stixxay, good target selection directly onto Altec, and they secure that. But then the kills go right through. Yeah, their kills onto Nunu and Thresh, but they're still going to be building items which buff the Kalista. So you're still giving effectiveness to the Kalista eventually with Shockwave, as OmarGod buys a lot of time, but still a 3-4-1.
Down here onto this one, you can see a very large lead now, 3,500 gold plus the double drakes. Mountain has spawned now at the 17-minute mark, so more can be added, but it also means now that we're at 17, we can't have that 6 Drake game, I believe. Either way, there's going to be a lot of damage now onto this Nunu. Taking a whole bunch of chunks into him, a nice stun. Shock is going to catch a little bit on OmarGod. They can't quite kill off Shrimp, though. Now onto the back line, Stixxay forces to run away, and Ssumday just kills him regardless where he stands. I'm not getting him far enough, and now it's a hook, and it's going to be a kill off a rampage for Adrian. The kill leader in the game is the Thresh. He can do no wrong as the chase continues into this one. Finally, a kill through to Counterlogic Gaming. They've knocked down Ssumday, but at what cost? They've already killed off 3.
Adrian, you're trolling. 4-0-7 on... It's the best kind of troll.
That is not trolling.
It's the best kind of troll, and you have nearly 100% kill participation, but 4 kills on the Thresh. He's getting a lot of last hits. That was another big-time fight for Team Dignitas. Shrimp, the fact that he didn't die is a little absurd. You get to see how tanky Nunu gets quickly, especially if you're ahead of the curve in the game. So, I mean, last game it was kind of about CLG sticking around. This game it's not feeling like that. This is Team Dignitas forcing more plays, getting more successes, and opening up a much larger lead.
When they're crushing this game right now, it's almost all you can do to say it's pretty much theirs to win at this point. Maybe a 2-0 for Team Dignitas to turn their season around finally. Maybe have a good run towards the end of Summer Split to make it towards playoffs. You can see that fight again.
Yeah, Darshan is about to mega in the jungle. He says, I'm going to pick someone off.
But to ult the Nunu.
Yeah, ults right in. I mean, they were trying to CC chain him before the fight, but when they burn that much on Nunu and don't get the kill, it's trouble. Ssumday then goes and tries to 1v3 on the backside. He ends up over chasing, but we're going to focus on the other side where Altec is just kind of hopefully cleaning up. Adrian autos as Altec actually rendered early, so I blame Altec for that. Support kill secure. 4-0-7 Thresh.
Yep. And actually, the Knight's Vow contributed 76 health to Shrimp from the Altec autos. He would have lived regardless, but worth noting, I checked the tooltip. He got 76 health out of that one. 78. I was off by 2, close enough.
Is that accurate, though? It says it redirected 0 damage.
Yeah, Altec didn't take any damage yet.
He took no damage that fight.
No one touched him.
That's the right kind of fight for an
Or he was out of range when he did, so.
Yeah.
Getting free healing feels good when you're Nunu. You can just get more out of it. Gonna go for some more armor, maybe a Frozen Heart, or maybe it's gonna be the big Gargoyle Stone Plate. We'll see what it comes to be.
Yeah, one of the more underrated things about Nunu is actually how good he is with that mastery, who I always have the name messed up because the icon's the same as Bond of Stone. Stoneborn Pact, because the healing on it in this stage in the game when you're around a 3,000 health Nunu is sometimes greater than the healing you get from Blade of the Ruined King, unless he's actually hitting like on cooldown with some Hurricane blocks proccing. So he's keeping him so much healthier just by having a slow on someone that Altec is hitting.
Yeah, and auto attack going to be like a couple 100 HP in some situations here onto this one.
The objective control is huge here. So they got spotted out, but I wonder if they even pull off.
Can you against Nunu plus Ren? It's probably the hardest single duo in the game to steal away from. 2000 HP, it's not even going to be close. Quick, Ren picks it up. There's Baron for Team Dignitas, and look at that. Fate's Call is going to keep Adrian completely safe. It's in a lantern for good measure, and he's going to be just fine with that one. A great Baron secure on spawn by Team Dignitas.
Very smart 20-minute Baron. Darshan trying to get work done in that bottom lane. Does not have the Frozen Mallet yet, so Ssumday is able to neutralize him. And then they run away as they should have. Now they will look to set up a play.
Yeah, I'm going to keep going to this one. I mean, they are so far ahead now, 7,000 gold up at the 21-minute mark. This is a massive, massive, substantial lead. And mathematically, as far as like, we'll talk about stats because why not? As far as like chance to win a game, an Infernal Drake's worth close to 2,000 gold as far as predicting who wins the game, and a Mountain Drake's worth like 700. So pretend the gold lead is like 11,000 without Drakes, and it's like, wow, that game would be over. So Dignitas are incredibly far ahead at this point.
Yeah, you always have to factor in as well how many people can use the Infernal Drake buff, and in this game, Kalista doesn't build very much AD, Keane doesn't build very much AP.
She has a lot of, it does multiply her base AD though, so I think it's actually pretty reasonable multiplier for her. But you're right, I guess.
Here we go.
Big part of it either way, he's going to get shut down, and at least one kill is picked up. Adrian goes down, Fate's Call was still on cooldown. CLG hoping to make a comeback happen. Now in a 5v4, Stixxay still waiting to join the team as the Renekton of Ssumday pushes down the mid lane. Kalista Gaming have a lot of scraps to put back together here. Still against this Baron buff as Darshan hits Mega Gnar. Dark Binding's going to find a 3,000 health Nunu.
Yeah, Dig kind of want to fight this 4v5. You can tell they have a big enough gold lead. They do not want to waste their Baron, and Renekton is taking the angle for the fight. Shrimp.
He's going to be into playing.
Going to get a snowball off, you'd think. Doesn't cast it before Gnar ult hits.
Yeah, Mega Gnar is going to only knock back the Nunu, and the Dark Binding failed to hit Ssumday, but either way, Team Dignitas were zoned away enough that there was no chase to be had. Adrian respawns. Dignitas are back to 5. They almost find Keane. They're going to find a bit of CC, but he's just simply got a bit too much support, and CLG cannot chase him down.
Next minion wave would be a timing for them to do a little bit of pushing. Altec hoping to find a fight. Actually has Ssumday going over to the other wave, so trying to slow push this a little bit. You think CLG would have tried and fend this wave, but they're actually backing away because there's a big wave top lane as well, so trying to get ahead of this turret cascade. The Dig might be building up. Just going to keep pushing, because there's no Trist.
Yeah, no Tristana makes it very easy. They're going to play an aphromoo. Big slow is there as well. 2 more autos to shut him down. There's the Ren. The kill is in already. 5v4 now. It's CLG missing the support. Bottom inhibitor going to die pretty much for sure. The hook, that was pretty good. He should be fine. Yep, play's going to miss as well. Stun's not going to do much on Adrian. Either way, he would be safe with Fate's Call. And bot lane inhibitor is gone. And now Dignitas have a new minion wave to walk down into the mid lane. They're going to shut down even more of Counter Logic Gaming's base. Mid lane inhibitor will be cracked, and Altec really wants to play aggressively. This is a bit of a danger, though. Either way, 2 inhibitors down, and Dignitas can walk away completely clean. Yeah,
Team Dignitas just steamroll in there, and it's because CLG pulled Huhi mid lane and Trist top lane, when Team Dignitas still had 4 in the bottom lane with Baron and Nunu to just walk up to the turrets. So easily blow through those turrets and extend their lead to now actually 10,000, plus 2 Infernals, plus a Mountain.
They are in a huge spot right now. 10 seconds until the second Mountain Drake respawns as well. They probably don't need it. I'd almost rather say just go push and don't let them farm any more gold, but Dignitas can do almost anything they want to win this one out. Keane's even got Merc Treads and a Banshee to be able to make sure he can't get picked off. I mean, there's really not a lot of inlets for Counter Logic Gaming. This could very quickly be that 2-0 and in a swift second game for Team Dignitas.
Yeah, OmarGod had such a good debut yesterday against Echo Fox, has not had the same influence over this game. Could not get any early ganks off while Shrimp full cleared the jungle and went for Infernal Drake. Still just sitting on those 2 assists 24 minutes in. Altec, 2 Kalista games in a row. Adrian, 2 Thresh games in a row. Their first duo together on Team Dignitas. If that leads to a 2-0 over the #1 team in the North American LCS, what a huge potential swing in the Team Dignitas season.
Absolutely agree. Dignitas going to be back on a winning record for the first time in about 14 calendar days. Looking for the way to make it into this one. Looking for that top lane inhibitor, the final major objective before the Nexus is up. Minion waves flooding in from the mid and bottom lanes right now. At some point, Stixxay will have to move over and clear those, or Huhi will, one of the two. Still clearing the vision, and Team Dignitas waiting to close.
Yeah, Baron buff is down, so it is just 2 normal waves of super minions that can be cleared by CLG, but the lead is big enough for Team Dignitas, and Shrimp is tanky enough that I think they're going to be willing to dive.
I think so too. We'll see what happens though. Stixxay on 2 items, has the shiv, has a Last Whisper for a bit of armor pen for something. But he's still got kind of a ways to go till he catches up to killing these big tanks.
Yeah, they're going to wait until they see CLG off. And even Shrimp can just tank a few turret shots. There's now 2 people on CLG trying to power down that. And I would think the Team Dignitas would then take the turret and hit while that's happening, but it's a bit of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, they don't want to dive the 5v3 with no minions, it looks like. And I guess that's maybe the way you lose the game, is just going way too hard on the dive. They're going to wait 30 seconds and go for it here.
Yeah, dangerous to do against a Gragas because he can always hit you back, but this would be the moment to go.
All right, root onto Thresh. No trigger pull yet for CLG Gaming. Darshan still mini Gnar as well, and it's just going to be quick wave clear. Huhi doing a lot of work onto this one, and Team Dignitas maybe a bit gun shy. They really are letting CLG get a lot of this farm and maybe catch up a bit and a bit more. As Stixxay can now afford a Giant Slayer to sell his Doran Shield to get him more tank killing damage. He's got 5 things with the wave is there, going to clear away mid lane.
Yeah, not a huge reason for Team Dignitas to be too hasty. Baron is up in a minute if this doesn't work, but they're moving in once again. Nice stun.
Stun Vine, but he's got Fate's Call available when he wants to pull him in. He will do that now. OmarGod takes a hook, goes right back out. Team Dignitas going to say, you know what, we're not going to go too hard. Let's back up and go for the next one. So CLG able to defend the double inhibitor down, able to farm a few hundred extra gold per minute with these minions, because we know Dignitas were not getting anything from the mid and bot wave themselves. So Stixxay has powered up a fair bit.
Yeah, very tough defense. And they do it. This does mean, though, that Team Dignitas now get their 2nd Mountain Drake. Set up a spawn for a 5th one, which will be around 32 minutes. Also prep a nearly indefensible 2nd Baron of the game. So by no means is CLG free from the control of Team Dignitas, but it is still a very, very impressive.
Let's see what comes through. 10,000 apart. Lord Dominic's done, but that's probably not enough for Tristana to turn around these gigantic tanks that Team Dignitas have right now as they grab, as we saw, that 2nd Mountain Drake. And now Baron is alive. A nice little attempt to pick on an Altec. Gets some good damage, to be fair. That's actually a pretty good chunk. The Mountain comes in a little bit late, but look at that play. They found Huhi. Locket already burned. They're going to look for the damage. They will pick him off. Fate's Call was down. So Adrian getting his 2nd death of the game now. CLG looking to find ways to fight back.
That's such a poor engage by Adrian, though, when Altec is taken so low and you have no shockwave on the Orianna. Altec can't re-enter that fight. So it kind of gives a kill over when they needed to be taking full control of the Baron area, buys yet more time for CLG.
And time is what they need to scale back up into this game, get it on the right, get gold to the right people, get levels on the right people. Stixxay level 15 does have some tank busting. We'll see what comes through as Huhi, you saw the amount of damage he could deal to Altec. We even already had Quicksilver Sapphire's and Magicus, but here comes the attempt on Baron. 5v4, Adrian dead, aphromoo wants in, forcing a flash off for one. Stixxay on the chase, wants Keane, can't quite kill him. A blast cone over the wall, both really used by Keane to get away. CLG owning a bit more of this control. aphromoo wants to find a bind. OmarGod wants in. They find Darshan's got Keane. They got some damage up, but here comes the chase, but the Lantern gonna bring him to safety, and Adrian gonna bring him out for now. But this means that CLG now have control over the Baron pit. They can maybe buy some time, and Keane without flash, without a health bar, maybe means there's no mid laner for Dignitas.
And how aggressive do they want to get? They're still down 9,000 gold, but this is a fight without Orianna, so Dignitas would have to 5v4.
And Orianna's got 11k, so CLG technically are more powerful right now as they go in for this one. OmarGod losing a lot of health, though. He's gonna get chunked out, can't quite die. He's out of range for Ren. He's going back up to the Baron to smite, but he finally gets that kill picked up. Nunu with the big absolute 0. Gonna put CLG's health bars in just that. 3 kills picked up already. Stixxay gonna drop as well. A triple kill for Altec, and it's only Huhi left alive. He's running for dear life, but the snowball is there. The attack in, the quadra kill for the new Team Dignitas bot lane starter, and it's just the mid lane to go. Team Dignitas gonna make it the 2-0 over Counter Logic Gaming.
CLG took their small comeback attempt and tried to double down onto a Baron, but it failed miserably there as Altec was able to just run through the fight. These death timers pretty long, 10 seconds on Omar and aphromoo. They're gonna go for the win.
And here we go, the minion wave's getting pushed in. Locket for a shield just to block a couple more turret shots, and here come the Nexus turrets. 2 respawns in, but it's a 5 versus 2, and it's not the damaging members hit that. Shockwave gonna find him. Another kill for Altec, 5 in a row for him now. Now this one, 8-1-5 was overall scoreline. The Nexus to fall next, and OmarGod gonna play for the KDAs. They wait for Darshan to respawn, and it doesn't matter. A sub 30-minute victory. Team Dignitas 2-0 with the new lineup over Counter Logic Gaming.
And that is a reason to smile there for Adrian. A team that was on a 4-match losing streak find the match win against the #1 team in the North American LCS. And for Adrian, it's his first match with the team. That's gotta feel good.
That's gotta feel absolutely amazing here. So positive things now from the squad. Smiles and handshakes coming in. And, you know, looks like Stardock was wrong. This team can certainly play around more than just the top lane. It's more than just Ssumday. He was probably the least factor in both of these games of the Team Dignitas wins. It was actually the bot lane doing all the work. Altec player the game the first one. Minus a thought goes to Adrian for the second one. His roams were insane. He gifted first blood over to himself or over to the mid lane. Had a lot of really sick plays. Some bloopers to be fair, but he was 18 out of 19 to give it a patient. Only 2 deaths is not too bad either. I mean, really good stuff out of the spot lane.
All Ssumday had to do was neutralize Gnar, and the rest of Team Dignitas won, which has not been something that Team Dignitas has done well this split. And it's so important for them as well to do this against CLG, because that's the hardest team technically on their schedule towards the second half of the split here. Still going to be a lot of teams they have to take down, but they were right on the edge of playoffs here. You see Rift Rivals, you see Phoenix 1 winning some games. You're wondering if they're going to be making a surge. What's going to happen as well, and Team Dignitas was in 5th, tied with Envy, moving up to 6 wins against CLG here. So critical for their long-term success.
Absolutely agree. Alone currently in 5th place. They're over Team Envy right now. 6-5 with 7 to play, and if they can play like this, I mean, sky's the limit. And Dignitas is so weird because you're like, ooh, at the beginning split, wow, they're so good. They're 5-1. Ooh, is this like a top 3 team? And then they come plummeting down. Then do it again. Oh, are they a top 3 team? And you kind of wonder how far this really goes either way. Were they just on the far right side of the bell curve where they had their best game of the split and it's all downhill from here? Or is this indicative of their new form? Will Altec and Adrian keep laning like this? Will they keep crushing?
Yeah, I mean, we have seen now 2 games of Altec and Adrian, and they were on the same champions both times. Kalista Thresh, one of the strongest lanes you can have in the game right now as long as Caitlyn is banned.
Yes.
So they're not going to get that every game.
I agree.
And they're going to need to be able to continue that success. It's just got to be really hopeful for them, because you mentioned that one thing about Team Dignitas and whether or not, like, why our perceptions of them is so strange. Right? And it's because when they win, they look really good winning.
Yeah.
But then they just haven't been able to maintain that form, and they found it again today.
Yeah, high variance team, because their losses look really terrible. And you're like, oh my God, this is a terrible team. Of course it's going to fall apart. But then they do this again. So we'll see what kind of Dignitas we get tomorrow. Either way, for more on that win, let's check in with Kobe and Team Dignitas' new starting support.
Thank you, Freak. Yes, we have Adrian here after his first Team Dignitas victory, and against the #1 team at that. Now, I have to say, first question is, how long have you actually even been playing scrimmaging with the team?
Actually, I just started last week because they wanted to try something different and like trying to get the best possible roster, because we have like an 80 carry, 2 80 carries and 2 supports. So we're just trying to find the best possible roster. So I actually haven't scrimmed that much.
All right. Well, that substitute, situation is actually pretty curious, because you guys just released a post that Chaser has been released. You previously were, had the possibility of switching him and Shrimp out. What is it like? Because they also have, Lot, as you said, and Big for the bottom lane. What's the substitute situation on Team Dignitas? Are they all getting playtime, or?
Before, yeah, we were splitting playtime, but like for the past week, it was just only me and Altec playing. So like, because we want to focus on one thing, because Dignitas wasn't doing that well previously, but I think we're really strong right now.
Yeah, results definitely speak for themselves. 2-0 versus the top team. Next match that you have coming up is going to be Phoenix 1, though. They have a lot of hype behind them right now, even though I believe they just lost to TSM on the other stream. Coming out of Rift Rivals, they had big performances. Mike Young, how do you feel like you guys are going to stack up versus them?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in matching up against their bot lane. Like, I think they're going to be really scared because they have, like, no winning lanes, I guess. I think we're all good.
All right. Well, good luck in that matchup, and congratulations once again. We're going to send it over to the guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Kobe. Adrian helping Dignitas break their 4-match losing streak coming into this week in his debut with them. And a lot of it in part because of his play on Thresh throughout this series. I mean, he was making the roams happen and helping extend advantages not just to Altec, but to the other laners as well.
I think that's the big thing you have to talk about when you're saying his performance this game, because obviously the two of them performed extremely well, but it was his ability to get into mid lane and start getting, Huhi held down, because this is traditionally one of CLG's biggest carries, one of their best players, and he gets completely taken apart 2 games in a row with the help of Keane. And here Adrian gets this first roam off, and then after that it's non-stop action out of the bot lane.
Right, Adrian picking up player of the game for his performance on the Thresh this time around, but your point around the focus too in the mid lane, I mean, it was persistent both in Game 2 and in Game 1, right? We saw Keane doing massive work, getting even a couple solo kills or so on Huhi, and also in the pick and ban phase, there was plenty of focus in on Huhi, so a lot of people targeting him as the member of the #1 squad right now that they want to knock down a peg.
Yeah, you heard Irene talking a little bit at the top of the day. It's Darshan and Huhi, the two of them. Well, you can really target one of them if you want to, and they choose to go for Huhi. A lot of bans, a lot of roams at him, and then once they get this lead, like here you see once again Adrian up in the top lane. We saw him in the bot river, coordinating well with the jungler, which is pretty surprising given the fact that they didn't really have a ton of practice time together. You heard him saying in the interview about a week.
Exactly.
And to see them already matched up pretty well in terms of the going for vision control together is nice to see, and shows that he has a good brain, as Azale would say.
Right, but CLG and teams clearly have not forgotten Adrian and who he is, because we saw, for example, the Soraka ban come through. But I think that they're, to a degree, Adrian's been kind of pigeonholed into this image of a support player that can only play the Janna, the Soraka, those very, very heal supportive shielding champions that aren't currently in the meta. We forget the likes of the Thresh that he can perform on.
He's a little bit of a meta bot, and he'll do exactly what he thinks the team needs to succeed. Back way on tip, season 5, he would play Alistar and Leona because they needed extra engage, because Rush played super aggressive junglers, and Impact was mostly playing that kind of stuff in the top lane as well. So he took on the tanking role. And then on Immortals, they needed someone to help protect Wall Turtle and get him out of the laning phase a little bit more. That's what he did when he was the one who kind of established the range support meta, and that made the rest of North America adapt to him. And here, Thresh is one of the best bot laners right now. He can pick that one up too.
And that alongside the Kalista, as we've seen, be picked up by multiple people so far. We have over in the Phoenix 1 TSM series as well, a lot of priority being placed on Kalista, even first rotation in some cases. That not only helps you with the Thresh combo in terms of having some engage and options in lane, we got to talk about Baron control. Dignitas, when they looked really good in the first few weeks, Jat said it, when they're winning, they look good, and the way in which they were doing it was with that control around Baron. Well, having not only a Kalista, but a Nunu right alongside that, oh man, how are you ever going to get Baron away from these guys?
Yeah, I mean, you have the 4-minute dragon as well. They obviously had a lot of focus around these kind of neutral objectives, and like you said, it actually aligns very well with what they were doing when they were winning, because they would force these really early Barons on you, 20-minute Barons, and a lot of teams would just not be set up around them, and they would sneak one away. And Kalista plays that perfectly, because if they do spot you out, well, you already have so many Ren stacks on it that there's no smite steal threat.
Right.
It's just about if you're healthy enough to not die on the way out, and with the advantages that they already had this game, it's pretty free.
When you also have the option at any point to turn, right? Again, that Fate's Call from Kalista gives her so much room to be flexible around the global objective. Yes, as you mentioned, do we want to sit here, keep pumping the Ren stacks in, and get the secure with a Nunu consume smite Ren stack? I mean, you could nuke it down from like 3 to 4K, or you Fate's Call, throw the Thresh in when they come to contest, and you just take the team fight. We had the final fight of this game kind of develop around the Baron River. Quadra kill going over to Kalista here as well.
CLG was very desperate there on the back foot. They already had basically their entire base taken down once. All their inhibs are up. They chunk out the Orianna, so they try and force the Baron. But Dignitas moves in to contest it. You see Ssumday going in there just frontlining, taking a lot of damage, buying space for Altec and Adrian to get in there and actually start cleaning up these kills. And after that triple kill, it's an easy chase down onto Huhi, picking up the Quadra. Someone, somewhere, stole that other one for the Penta.
Yeah, it was very clearly a desperation play from CLG there, thinking that, hey, we either need the Baron or we need the fight in order to get back into this one. They get the fight, they don't win it, and unfortunately that spells the end for our #1 team. So they're going to end their week 1-1, moving to 9-3 overall. What would be your takeaway for CLG here then? Because it does seem like they were exposed a little bit, at least in part, for that mid to jungle duo where people chose to dismantle the Huhi side of it.
I think sometimes we get so caught up in like, oh, this went wrong for them, and it's you try and look for a pattern when it's really not there. I mean, just off this one series, I would say Huhi had a bad day. And that can happen where, who knows why, but there was a skirmish around Rift Herald where they had forced Dignitas off it, they had secured the Rift Herald, Darshan was going to pick it up, and he just had to back away, and he was getting a little greedy, walked forward, gets CC'd, and dies again for his 3rd time in like the first 15 minutes. Whether it was because of the focus and pick ban phase, or just being a little out of it, or some of the roams getting to him. Either way, Huhi did not have a good day, and I wouldn't quite project it on the rest of the season for CLG.
All right, now what about on the flip side for Dignitas? Again, they've broken this 4-match losing streak. It looked good today in the way that they won. Of course, we're going to have some reservations around whether or not they've returned to form and they're right back in the top half of the standings. But how do you feel about this look for Dignitas? If this was a consistent performance out of them, would you be confident that they're a top 3 team?
Oh yeah, big time. Because the thing is, it came from the bot lane here. We talk about Ssumday for this team being a huge carry, but they often can't rely solely on him, and they always need someone else to step up. And more in the past, it had been Keane, but this time around, coming completely from the bot lane, Altec and Adrian smashed both games in a row, got all over the map, and they got huge leads. The Kalista damage was very high, which is something you don't always see with the champion. Much more of a utility focus. So if they can continue to put on good performances with the bot lane, Keane being consistent this time around, and Ssumday doing Ssumday things, then you actually have a really good winning formula.
I mean, Altec, Adrian, AA. How can you beat someone in the AA tier if you're only sitting in the A tier?
The Duracell bot lane.
Duracell bot lane. I like
batteries.
that. We may have just come up with a new name for the Altec and Adrian bot lane. That's gonna, or rather, that's not all we have in terms of series in store for you today. Up next, we have FlyQuest taking to the stage versus Team Liquid. Don't go anywhere.
Insane hook, and Huhi is gone. Ooh, they're gonna find damage on the Keane, flashing away. He's still gonna go down. Huhi gets the damage. Flash, snowball for Shrimp. Slaps him in the face. Here's a stun for Ssumday, and the kill comes through. Ssumday just kills him regardless where he stands. I'm not getting him far enough, and now it's a hook, and it's going to be a kill off a rampage for Adrian. The kill leader in the game is the Thresh. Stixxay gonna drop as well, a triple kill for Altec, and it's only Huhi left alive. He's running for dealer, but the snowball is there. The attack in, the quadra kill for the new Team Dignitas bot lane starter. A sub 30-minute victory. Team Dignitas 2-0